What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariel and I am the co-founder of Flourish Lashes. Today is just like a casual day. Josh and I are going to the office now, so I thought I'd jump on here and do a quick video for you guys. I feel like a lot of times you guys struggle in terms of enforcing your lash policy, so I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to make sure that your policies are clear and to the point, and your clients should have clear indication on what your policies are before they even come to see you. I don't really do videos like this, especially in the car, but I thought it'd be fun to kind of change it up. And if you guys like this, definitely let me know if you like this idea. Definitely want to be a little bit more personal and give you guys a real rundown of what our days really look like, because they're different every single day. Fun fact, actually, we are going to LashCon, which is so exciting. We are a sponsor for LashCon this year. So LashCon is in November in California, Pasadena. I will put the link in our description. If you guys are interested and you want to attend LashCon, you can definitely do so and buy your tickets. I think that they are selling out really, really quickly. So definitely go ahead. If you are interested in going to LashCon, get your tickets now. So I'll leave that in the description. Green tea, large green tea black.
Hi, can I get a large green tea black?
Okay.
And small coffee regular?
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Honestly, I've been having some serious stomach problems the past week. It's not a good time. I can't eat anything. So green tea is a must. Okay, so number one is actually make sure that your policies are somewhere written down. First of all, I know we all think about policies as, oh my gosh, we need a deposit, we need this. That's great. Those are not necessarily policies, but you want to just identify your actual policy. So a policy would be something like making sure that, you have a 10-minute window between your late time. So let's say that your client comes 10 minutes after. A policy would be that, okay, now you have to reschedule your appointment, or there's a fee or some sort of penalty towards that. Everybody has a different threshold for what they want in their policies or what they're willing to tolerate, and it also depends on where you lash. So you would have different policies if you're lashing from home, in a space in your home, versus having a studio. Maybe at home you don't really want guests in your studio, or if you're working in a studio, maybe you wouldn't mind having guests. So it just kind of depends, and it varies person to person. So once you get that down packed, make sure that you have it written down and you are able to actually share this information. You're always shutting the people down.
They do it to me all the time. Every morning they do it to me.
They do. They run us out of this drive-through. Okay, so my next tip is, once you have your policies kind of written out and ready to go, now it's time to actually let them be in front of your clients, your potential clients, your people who are inquiring, all that stuff. You definitely want the policies to be visible before your client even books. You want it to be where they're inquiring and they can see it and they understand it, and that way they can pick whether or not you are the right fit for them. Not every client is fit for every lash artist, and not every lash artist is fit for every client. So being able to kind of show what your expectations are kind of weeds out the clients that don't necessarily fit properly, or vice versa. So for example, I know for me, I was actually going to book a lash artist, I think a couple years ago or something. And I remember going through her Instagram and I was going to kind of go ahead and book. And before I booked, I saw that she had the highlights and she had policies right on the highlights. And I honestly don't remember exactly which policy it was, but there was a policy in there that I was like, oh, that's probably not going to work. And I didn't end up booking with her, but it saved both of us the time, rather than, going through the back and forth or trying to book and then seeing the policies and then being like, oh, maybe this isn't the right fit. And then sometimes at that point, people aren't, sometimes people are shy and they don't want to cancel the appointment after they booked, and then it's just not the best experience. So to avoid any confusion, it's best to kind of make sure that you have everything laid out before the client can even book their appointment. So that means putting it in your highlights, maybe even doing a post about it. And then even when they inquire, sometimes on Instagram, if you get a DM, if you're booking people through DM, there is a automatic response, and you could even list your policies, or at least your main policies, and that way that person can read through that before they actually go ahead and book with you. And like I said, this just saves a lot of back and forth, and it saves any heartache or miscommunication or anything like that, especially when the client comes in and something wasn't stated before or it just wasn't clarified. It just helps the entire process, honestly. It's so funny when you look at it, because there's a battery place and then a biker place and then it's just pink. I literally have nothing in my hand. He has everything. It's always so dark in here when we walk in. It is a bit, it's quite dirty actually. This place needs to get clean all the time. There's just so many things happening. It just has to be clean all the time. Oh my God, I bought like, I tried to be organized because my desk is the worst out of everybody's. So I bought like these cute little things from Amazon. I don't really know if it's working, but we'll see. And there's always, tweezers always end up on my desk. Like there's always tweezers on my desk. Like just always. Okay, so to my last tip, you can never over communicate something, especially when it comes to policies, rules, regulations, things like that. So do your best at every point in terms of contact that you do let your client know certain things. And I promise you, it'll make your entire lashing experience so much better. I know that being a beginner lash artist, it gets really tricky in terms of actually enforcing your lash policies, because what happens is we're so eager for the client, and that's amazing, but we're so eager for the client that we never want to actually let the client feel that they did something wrong or that something wasn't followed, because we obviously want to keep the client. But it gets really sticky when certain things aren't followed or not met to the expectation that you had when you started your business, or you put yourself out there, and it gets really hard to correct it after a certain period of time. But I promise you, if you nip certain things in the bud, it will just be easier. It's harder to have a client, like let's say 4 times, and then only the 5th time you're telling them that, oh, like this isn't supposed to be like this. Then it makes them feel like you're changing things on them. But if you had told them the first time, then they can do what they will with that information. Whether or not it fits them or not, they either come back or not. And I think that's one thing as being a beginner lash artist that we have to understand, is that it's okay if a client doesn't come back, because you're in that phase where you're trying to figure out who your clientele is and who is going to actually want to come to you, because everybody is so different, and it takes a little bit of time to figure out that right formula or that right type of client. And you'll see, once you start being confident and you start gaining that specific type of client, because as much as lashing is, versatile, and there's so many people you can cater to, at the end of the day, what you do will attract one person, or what you do will attract certain people. And that's great. That means that you're niching down your market. So that means that you have to enforce these policies so that you and the client are on the same page and you guys can have a great relationship, because then that's when you're going to have longevity in your clients, and those clients are going to continue to come back, and those are your repeat clients that you actually have for years to come. So that's why it's so important to actually enforce your policies, especially at the beginning. So all in all here, my biggest advice is to don't be afraid to say no. Make sure that you put a lot of effort into thinking about what you want. And I will say too that a lot of the policies, especially for me, a lot of the policies that I ended up having came with experience. As I experienced things change. So things that I thought I was okay with, I wasn't necessarily okay with, and things maybe I thought I wasn't okay with, I ended up being okay with. So it's an experimental phase. It's something that, as you grow, it gets better, but it does get better. So definitely do your best to kind of do some research, see what policies are out there, what works for you, what you're willing to do. So if you guys like this video, if you guys found this helpful, if you guys like this style of this video, let me know. So if you guys like this, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with something new next time. Bye.